1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty. And the Keel app is a free download from Office Furniture Source. With respect, I just don't like the term substitute. I think just Shreveport Police Chief.
Well, officially he's the sub right now. Is that the
That's
official
the official
word?
term,
Yeah.
huh? Not interim, but it's substitute. Chief Wayne Smith is here.
Yes.
A pleasure, sir. Nice to meet you. We've met a couple of times in passing before, but good to have you sit down, spend a little time with us.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for having me.
Let's do the Mardi Gras thing first. I didn't tell y'all ahead of time, but we cleared it. There is a little bit of a problem now with the Mardi Gras parades for Shreveport because of the overtime costs for police. Where are we with regard to that? It sounds like the city has asked the crews to step up and pay for that security price tag. Your department's strained, and I guess that's the reason for this change, right?
Could very well be. It takes a tremendous amount of resources to provide security for an event of that magnitude. Close to a couple of hundred police officers for that day, at time and a half overtime, and that is a tremendous strain on anybody's budget, ours or anyone else who would be paying for it.
Strictly from a manpower point of view, is that an event or pair of events that you can? Is the word decimate too strong? Can you afford to decimate the force around the rest of the city to cover a couple of parades?
Well, I can assure you, over the years, I really understand the importance of events like this, because not only do they provide, great entertainment and outlet for our community, it also provides that same outlet for hundreds, even thousands of other people who come into our city, especially for that event. And whatever it takes to make it happen, the Shreveport Police Department, and we will request assistance from our sister and partnering agencies to help us provide the best security that we can. So, in other words, we're going to make it happen, whatever it takes. May not be as many of us on the front line, but some of us will be there.
Should Shreveport try to do a little bit more maybe to save these parades? Are they a huge benefit to our community, or has it become kind of like, it's a little bit more of a burden than it is a great benefit?
Great question. From my perspective, I see hundreds of thousands of people that come to the events year after year after year. Matter of fact, one of the things that make us to talk around Louisiana and around other states is the Mardi Gras parades that happen here. And I can't help from believe that it has a pretty significant financial, economic impact on the city, because people buy so many things prior to that, getting prepared for the parade.
Would it be easier for you, Chief, if it was just confined to the Parkway?
It would take less officers, yes it would, because there's less intersections to cover, yes.
Let's switch to crime fighting efforts, which that was the primary reason. I forgot to ask you a question last time and a follow-up. When you said you were going to assign all officers, including yourself, to work some hours in patrol, 4 to 8 hours a week in patrol. We need them at night. How are you going to work that? I mean, if somebody works a 9 to 5 shift and you're now telling them you got to work 4 hours or 8 hours a week on patrol, but you really don't need them 9 to 5 on patrol, you need them at night. How is that going to happen?
Well, we're easing into it. This is something very new that I don't think probably anybody has ever done before, and thus far it has been quite successful. We began the program, I believe, the 19th or 20th of this month. And as of today, I think we've logged in close to 500 extra hours that police officers have been spent on the street patrolling that prior to this would not have happened. And because the program is so new, and the other concerns that officers may have, I've been working with officers, and I've seen them working days, evenings, and nights. I did mine this past Saturday night, one of the critical nights. I was out on the street in a patrol car from 5 until midnight.
Wow. So it's kind of up to them to adjust their schedule? Like if they normally work 8 to 5,
yes,
they can adjust their schedule and say, but do you have someone saying, but we need more guys or gals to come work evening shifts? Is there somebody kind of coordinating it?
Right now, it's on a volunteer basis. Make it fit your schedule. Make it fit your schedule.
Okay.
But as time go on and we evaluate the need, well, certainly I can see us requesting that more maybe work evenings or midnight than work days. But now I see it spread out all over the place. People are working, 1 to 5. I see people working from 6 to midnight. I see people coming in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning working. It's just all over the place. But I'm so happy to see that officers are embracing this concept. And with 400 to 500 extra hours on the street in a week's time, that's really significant.
Mm-hmm.
How many officers short are you right now? What are you doing to can you, with the pay scale being what it is, locked in for starting officers, is that shortage something that you can really address? Or is a raise as mandatory can be?
Help is welcome. Certainly with our compensation package a lot lower than other places, certainly that is a factor. But our recruiting staff is working diligently, and we're going to open up our treasure chest of goodies here before long, and we're going to extend our reach to attract candidates further than we have before.
Okay, what's in that treasure chest? Is there cash?
Uh-huh.
What kind of incentives are you putting out there?
Well, just to begin with, we're going to make it a lot more convenient to apply and go through the process to become a Shreveport Police Department. Convenient means a lot. Many times our best candidates are the ones who are already employed.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of them having to take off their current job time and time again to come here to go through the strenuous process, we're going to take the process to them. Well, that won't necessarily happen. We've developed some strategies to attract other police officers, such as evaluating their current post certificates and requirements, compare that to ours, and you'll find out that some may not have to go through the entire 16-week academy. We can actually get them a little less training and get them on the streets working a lot quicker.
Chief, what are some of the other changes that you continue to make in the department to address our crime fighting problems?
Oh, it just there are so many, and I wish to have time that I could tell you about them all, but I can tell you some neat things that's been occurring lately. We've been going in a direction that not only is going to bring about significant improvement for the police department, but also to assist and help the morale of our troops. Starting here before long, as I mentioned before, we're fixing to enhance our home storage vehicle policy, where officers that live inside the city limits and has marked take-home vehicles, they won't have to come to the police station for roll call the majority of the time. With the advent of technology as we have today, and we lose almost an hour each day in transit to the station, then back out to your beat, then back to the station again. So we're going to put that time into the field. So an officer leaves home, goes to the area where he's going to patrol, get in service from that area. When at the end of your day, you get out of service from that area, unless, there's some necessary reason for you to come in. That's going to help put an hour a day back into the field.
What percentage of your officers live in the city?
I think probably 30, 40, 50%. It's a pretty significant amount.
All right.
When Mayor Glover was in office, and I think at the time it was Chief Shaw.
Yes, sir.
And Mayor Glover would talk all the time about, what's the term, broken window policing. I'm sure that's something.
It was a broken window theory.
And he would talk about, and I think Chief Shaw would too, about how they implemented that to a greater degree in Shreveport and that it worked. Is that something that you buy into? Is that a theory that you think is something viable? what exactly is your plan, if you have one, to make the SPD more visible in the trouble spots in the community?
The broken window theory actually work, and the concept behind that comes from neighborhood deterioration, where we know that there are certain things that happen in a neighborhood, such as dilapidated, deteriorating houses, a lot of abandoned vehicles that seem to be the cornerstone, the catalyst for other crimes to occur, where bad guys hide their narcotic in them, just a whole source of things. So yes, that will be included in our strategy moving forward, and that takes a concerted effort not only with us but with code enforcement and others who are stakeholders.
Is there a fine line between an enhanced visibility in neighborhoods and making the people in those neighborhoods feel like they're in an occupied, almost in a military zone? Is that a problem? Because police will come in here and say to us all the time is that the biggest problem is getting people to cooperate, to assist in the prosecution. How are you going to address that?
Well, I don't think we'll ever be to the state where you can see the police as being that kind of military in a neighborhood. We are the guardians of a neighborhood. Until you would see people in armored vehicles posted up at each intersection, armed, so you won't see that. The greater the police visibility in a neighborhood, well, naturally, it begins to lower crime and make people feel a lot safer in their neighborhoods.
Got time for one more if you got it.
Juvenile crime. We've talked about that the last time you were here. Have you come up with some suggestions or ideas? I know y'all have been in a lot of meetings with the juvenile officials, the sheriff, etc. Have there been some ideas tossed out there that you want to try to help address that?
We've already started. We started that immediately. In my former role as the assistant chief in charge of investigation, I directly dealt with juvenile crime. So we began that immediately upon taking this position. We have ongoing operations that our officers are out there specifically looking for people who violate the curfew ordinances and from being delinquent. We have operations out on weekends that are specifically targeting, ain't the appropriate word, but are particularly mindful of youth that may be out when they should not be. And we target the areas that appear to be most affected. And I honestly believe that an impact is being made. I don't want to at this point throw out any statistical data, but I honestly feel in my heart that an impact is being made.
SPD Chief Wayne Smith, a pleasure, sir. Thank you for coming in. Could have done over the phone, but you came in, you sat down, and you didn't even get coffee.
I want to look a guy in the eye when we talk.
Yeah.
Or a lady in the eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please, look
Thank
at
you, Chief.
Look at Aaron. I find that stare is scary. Thank you, Chief. Much appreciated. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel News. Next, here's Ruben.